So Killer Mike has these political discussions at his barbershop. And I don't know if this is a regular neighborhood thing or he specifically does these town halls during political season. I don't know if the barbershop is real or if it's a mock barbershop or like a set design of some sort, but he invited Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp went down there and got a haircut, went down there one time, and then he swayed all of the black men to vote against Stacey Abrams. I don't know if these black men actually voted for Brian Kemp, but Brian Kemp's numbers increased with black men as far as votes. And just recently, we saw a video of Killer Mike having another discussion. But in the clips that I saw, it didn't show who was the guest of honor. Well, the guest of honor was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., yet another Republican.
Problem. And a part of solving our infrastructure problem is to incentivize young boys who have gotten a girl pregnant. You must now go through 2 years of trade school.
Oh, wait a minute. So, okay, I like what
you're saying.
Okay, go ahead.
After that boy graduates, you get a further incentive if you and the girl marry. If you and the girl marry, we'll give you these incentives: zero finance home loans, something out of HUD the size of an apartment with a leaky faucet and rats and roaches in it. But incentivize marriage, which then strengthens our community, the black community, and strengthens the greater community, because now you have more American marriages. You have people with stronger financial stability, and you have tradespeople married to women of education, and you begin to recreate communities like what Auburn Avenue was, what Edgewood was. I believe you can do this from the executive order, because the money that Ford funnels down from the feds through the states to help mothers, then it can be attached, but we're not only helping mothers, we're helping fathers too. If a boy gets a woman pregnant, not only does she receive TAM, I see your face, right? Good idea. If a woman receives TAM, she receives this, the boy now has a must. You're federally required now to go to trade school. And in those 2 years, what you put out on the other side is a person who's trained, a person who has an incentive to marry, and a person who becomes a taxpayer and not just a taker.
I don't know if I heard correctly. Did that man say one of the incentives could be a HUD home, something that has rats and roaches? Is that what he said?
Something out of HUD the size of an apartment with a leaky faucet and rats and roaches in it, but incentivize marriage.
Yep, that's what he said. What kind of incentive is that? Listen, I don't want to get into the minutia of the bullshit that Killer Mike was spewing. I just wanted you to see the sit down that he was having with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and a bunch of black men. Let's take a closer look. Here's more pictures of that event. I got this from the Blacks for Kennedy Instagram page. This is the same event that Killer Mike was just speaking at. See that woman right there? This woman right here, that is Angela Stanton. Angela Stanton is a staunch Donald Trump supporter. Why? Because he pardoned her or got her out of jail or however they do it. Angela Stanton, staunch Donald Trump supporter. And she's sitting here amongst these black men and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Killer Mike. But wait, there's more. Now, Killer Mike may not come out here and say, I'm voting for this person and this is the reason why. No. But watch this.
I know we're running out of time. I do want to do two things. My dear friend, I want everyone to see Killer Mike, the rapper, Michael Render. So I would like to, I do want to.
Thank you, Mike, for coming.
Absolutely. I'm going to be running soon, but it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know this guy. He was reaching out to rappers before anyone else. He and Sanders are weird in that. But I want to just say I've learned a lot. I've gained further respect for you. I'll keep listening, and at some point I'll decide who I'm going to vote for president. But I think more Americans should be listening to you. So.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you for coming.
Mike, can you take a picture?
I'll do a handshake.
Okay.
I don't want progressive.
You don't want your liberals coming after?
Thank you, Mike.
He actually has one every text.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Killer Mike thinks more people should be listening to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. an anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist. That's who Killer Mike thinks people should be listening to. I'm going to leave y'all with this. The Robert F. Kennedy that news media is not talking about, I'll tag the creator that I got this video from, but I think you all need to know who Killer Mike wants you to be listening to. This is all I got. I got to get to work. I'll see y'all later.
Samoa, formerly known as Western Samoa. 2019, though, the country was in a public health crisis. The government of Samoa declared a measles epidemic in October of 2019. Most of the victims were children. In one family, 2 sisters and a brother were killed by the disease. The oldest was just 3. In another family, 2 sisters-in-law both lost sons, aged 14 months and 6 months, who died just 2 days apart. By December, almost 4,000 cases had been reported in a country of 200,000. And 55 people, mostly children under the age of 4, had died. An international health effort was underway. The Samoan government even asked the US CDC for help. By the time the Samoan government declared an end to the epidemic, 83 people had died. Again, most of them kids. Now remember, we're talking about measles here, a disease that was almost eliminated worldwide thanks to safe, effective, and cheap vaccines. In fact, in 2013, 92% of infants in Samoa were receiving the measles, mumps, rubella, or MMR vaccine. And in the 1-year period from 2017 to 2018, it dropped down to about 40%. As the New York Times put it, Samoa was suddenly on a par with some of the poorest countries in Africa. What happened to send the rate so low in 2018 specifically? Well, a growing anti-vaccine movement found a story to rally around. That year, 2 infants died after getting the vaccine. They died because their nurses had made a fatal mistake in administering the shots. But those facts did not matter to Samoan anti-vaxxers. Instead of telling the truth, they claimed that the vaccine itself was responsible for the deaths. And they got help from a US-based anti-vax group, Children's Health Defense, which took to Facebook to question the safety of the vaccines that those infants received. In the wake of those 2 deaths, Samoa's prime minister gave in to the anti-vaxxers and halted the country's measles vaccination drive in 2018. The founder of Children's Health Defense, a prominent American anti-vax activist, would later tell a Samoan newspaper that he had the prime minister's ear on the issue, and that the island nation's leader had privately shared his doubts about the safety of immunizing the public. That activist, quote-unquote, had become something of a celebrity in Samoa. He was honored as a guest of the prime minister. Who was this American anti-vaxxer who bragged after the epidemic about his sway with the Samoan leader? Actually, he's the reason why I'm telling you all this.
I am the President of the United States. I am going to end the chronic disease epidemic in this country.
Yes, that's Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr., who heads the anti-vax Children's Health Defense Network, which has since been banned from Facebook and Instagram for spreading misinformation. RFK Jr., who in June 2019, along with his wife, actress Cheryl Hines, was a special guest of the Samoan Prime Minister at the country's Independence Day celebration. Weeks later, the epidemic of the unvaccinated was underway in Samoa. And as more children died that November, Kennedy sent the Samoan Prime Minister a letter pressing him to investigate whether those children died not of measles, but ridiculously of exposure to the measles vaccine. He added, "It is a regrettable possibility that these children are causalities of Merck's vaccine." He probably meant casualties. Either way, he didn't know what he was talking about. Actual physicians with actual experience have been quick to debunk RFK's letter, pointing out that there's no evidence for his claim that vaccinated kids shed the measles virus. In fact, we reached out to Kennedy's presidential campaign for comment this week on his vaccine misinformation in Samoa, and they doubled down. This is who RFK Jr. is. This is the brand he's running on. He'll deny he's anti-vaccine, and then he'll tell anti-vax crowd epidemics end.
The thing that cured it was nutrition and clean water, not the vaccine.
No, the thing that ended the epidemic got rates back above 90% in Samoa by the end of December 2019. But what does RFK Jr. care? As ignorance, misinformation, and conspiracy theories go mainstream and get monetized, I can tell you how even his own family, with the name that he's traded on for years, has blasted his campaign to attack the institutions committed to reducing the tragedy of preventable infectious diseases. I can tell you how excited former Trump White House aide and pardoned felon Steve Bannon is about RFK's candidacy and its potential to tilt the 2024 election to Trump. But really, all you need to know about Robert F. Kennedy Jr., about his role in our public life, about his contribution to humanity, is encapsulated in the story of the measles epidemic that killed scores of children in Samoa in 2019. An epidemic not just of disease, but of misinformation and vaccine denial, fueled by a politically ambitious Kennedy kid with the ear of that country's leader. The next time you see RFK Jr. described just as a vaccine skeptic or a political maverick, remember that that does not do justice to who this guy is. There are very horrible, deadly, real-world consequences to his vaccine stance. The consequences in Samoa were the needless deaths of more than 80 people, most of them kids. I mean, a mother having to watch her dying child suffer in pain? Does RFK Jr. give a damn? Who knows? But what we do know is that he's a proven public health threat.
So let's never forget that.
RFK Jr. is garbage.